Alright, so this is going to be my first video. Uh, I don't know. I guess I just am going to go through this bullet pointed list of things I want to talk about. It's mostly going to be an introduction to, I guess, just who I am and like kind of what I want to accomplish with this. So first of all, I'm going to outline some of my beliefs for this channel since it's going to be, very focused on my beliefs and, learning more about them, spreading them, etc. So, I would describe myself as progressive socially as well as economically. So, communist, socially liberal, all that kind of stuff. Specifically, I would say I'm a Marxist-Leninist. Those are my major influences to pulling me towards communism, which we'll get to in a second. We're actually Marxist-Leninists, but I would specify though that I don't hold like animosity towards like anarchists or Trotskyists or anything like that, which I've seen a lot of people like hating them, and which I think since I am living in the U.S., especially in this time, we kind of need a bit more unity than that. Obviously, you can fight over ideological differences, but we need some sort of unity. And so, yeah, I started out, I guess, grew up conservative Catholic. And so I was obviously kind of, right wing as well. But I wasn't terribly political. Mostly just adopted my parents' beliefs and whatnot. And then I watched a lot of YouTube. And eventually, I liked The Lord of the Rings. I liked history. I liked all this stuff. Eventually, I started watching, like medieval historians, quote unquote, on YouTube, like Shadiversity, Metatron. These people now disgraced people, but I quite liked that. I liked their like Shadiversity's fantasy, what fantasy creatures would really use as weapons. Based on like what seemed to be actual history and all this stuff, and I thought that was cool. And along with this, I started watching like film criticism and stuff, but a lot of this was anti-woke type stuff, like Nerd or The Critical Drinker. These people who I now see kind of had terrible criticism and were really stupid. And then with people like Shadiversity, he had like a second channel film criticism called like the Knights Table or the Knights Watch or something, and he would make basically like anti-woke movie reviews as well. So I sort of started getting pulled down this pipeline of going further and further right, and a lot of the time my politics would just be whatever I watched on YouTube last, and oftentimes it was like this anti-woke film criticism. So, I started being like anti-woke or whatever. And that combined with my like conservative upbringing and Catholic beliefs kind of was a recipe for right-wing politics, right? And so I was going further and further down this pipeline. Now, luckily, I never reached like not even Ben Shapiro or anything like that, let alone full-on Nazism or anything. But I definitely was reactionary and stupid. But then I started watching I got some other videos recommended to me or something. I think it was like a Sean video on like Harry Potter or something. And then maybe one about I don't remember. I may have watched some about the alt-right pipeline. But like just watching these for a little bit. Luckily, I wasn't too propagandized at that point. I didn't hold too much to my right-wing ideology. But these videos kind of made me think, oh, hold on. I was being indoctrinated. I kind of need to pull myself out of this. So I kind of stopped with all that stuff, and I started watching more and more left wing ish, mostly liberal channels. But I did have some channels like Second Thought recommended to me. But then I decided to myself, wait, I maybe should stop this, because I started to think maybe I'm being indoctrinated to the left now. So I just kind of left politics alone for a while, which I'd say I still had fairly conservative beliefs, but not to the same level, and I was mostly like not into politics at all. Then I became agnostic about last summer, I'd say, beginning of last summer. Um, and that mostly through like learning about trans people and stuff like that, and how they like actually were just human beings and not some like strange thing. It's like these are real people and stuff like that. And then also I like sort of strange, but like atheist YouTubers, not like the old sort of reactionary new atheist crowd, but more like, I think genetically modified skeptic and whatnot, like more progressive voices and more kind, less rabidly militantly atheist. And then for a while I sort of didn't have like a purpose, I guess. And I also mostly was pretty militantly atheist. Like I was like, okay, we need to eradicate religion or whatever. But then about probably in the fall of that year, fall of 2024, I started to see some videos on YouTube, like watch some. Well, okay, let's go back a little bit. Before that, I had watched some more around the time of becoming agnostic, like I said, learning about trans people, stuff like that. So slightly more progressive politics, and I'd watch some videos of more like liberal or social democrat types, I'd say, or not outright radically socialist or anything like that. And then fall of 2025 or 2024 probably, I started watching some more videos by people like Second Thought and Hakeem, the deprogram guys, Ugopnik, and so that started making me move a little bit more left. I think I may have watched some like ContraPoints as well, which, I guess I've had consistently bad tastes in content creators, although I've had some good content creators. But yeah, some now disgraced people, but still I was getting a bit more left-wing influence, and I kept watching more and more, and then I was like, you know what, maybe this socialism and communism thing isn't so bad. And I think partially it came down to me sort of needing a purpose in life after losing my like religious values, which I think made me sort of ripe for this new set of values to come in. And also just because I think it makes sense and is like correct or whatever. And so then I started to, move more and more left, but I hadn't really done much of the reading or anything. Mostly just watching YouTube videos, online leftism, waste of time. I actually plan to make a video on the online left. But regardless, I was moving left wing, but I wasn't educated, and I couldn't really defend my points well. Now I'd been interested in like philosophy and debate and stuff like that for a while, so oftentimes I'd like debate my friends or something like that, try to spread my beliefs, but I didn't really do a good job of it. But as time moved on, I started getting more and more like I'd start to do actual research that was more than just watching a YouTube video, like pulling up statistics, citing studies, articles, stuff like that. And I bought some books, but I wasn't and still am not particularly good at reading. I'm very slow at it, and I need to improve on that. But I did learn some from reading, and then as time went on, I got more and more radically left, I'd say. And more educated until we get to, I guess, this point where I now have, I'm doing the reading mostly, somewhat. I still need to get better at it and be more consistent with it, but I still am doing the reading to an extent. Obviously room for improvement. And then I have sort of abandoned the militant atheist views. I become agnostic fully. I still am not very, I don't really like religion much, but I'm not like, we need to destroy it or anything like that. That's not really my view. And then when it comes to left-wing politics, communist, socially progressive, definitely I need to do way more research. I'm not terribly well educated with a lot of topics, but that is partially part of the reason I started this channel. So part of the reason is to educate myself and others at the same time. So like when I release a video, say like a documentary style video essay, it will, you know, be me learning alongside the viewer. So I'll do the research and learn about the topic as I do the research, and the viewer will get whatever I've learned in a more condensed, more entertaining, hopefully, fashion. Also to hold myself accountable, because like if I'm going to want to be releasing videos, well researched videos consistently, I'm going to probably uh, need to do the reading and whatnot. So it's kind of an accountability thing to help me be a bit more consistent as well. Now, I also want to use YouTube as a creative outlet, because I mean, I've been sort of itching for this creative outlet, and I've heard people talk about YouTube, and I watch a lot of YouTube and Twitch and stuff, and it seems very, very fun. And so I'd like to do that. Now, in terms of the types of videos I want to make, probably it's just going to be probably a bit of a variety, but mostly politics and history in the form of like video essays that eventually like to do like some proper documentaries. Maybe a bit of music content, like music documentaries and stuff. And maybe some like analysis of like political music and stuff like that. I don't know. It could be interesting. Science content I think could be interesting. Mostly I'm kind of interested in like evolution and stuff like that. Abiogenesis, things like that, that I'd like to learn more about and maybe educate some others on. Philosophy as well. I find philosophy really interesting. So I'd like to work on that, work on some videos with that. I might do some videos for world building, because I have some worlds I'm working on, and I think that would be maybe a fun thing to share. And then gaming. I think gaming could be fun, especially because I plan on streaming as well. So if I just am re-uploading clips from my stream, although I might not put that on my main channel, I might make like a second channel or something just to keep the content separated, and so that if you want like more in-depth videos, analysis, stuff like that, you would come to my main channel. If you want more fun, lighthearted stuff, second channel, something like that. I don't know yet. And then basically anything else I sort of feel like doing, right? Because I do want this to be like a creative outlet, like I said, and I kind of want to try to avoid forcing myself into one niche and getting burnt out by doing something I don't like. And so the schedule I want to stick to is probably going to be like a weekly short video that's not terribly well researched, but more of me like ranting, and because the format for this is more like a bullet pointed list of things I wanted to touch on. That's probably going to be what I do for like the weekly videos. Like I have a video that I want to make about like the online left or online leftist content creators, but it's probably going to be a less research, shorter, more ranty style video. And then monthly, I'd like to release a full-length video essay of some kind. I think that would be, I think that's probably a good amount of time, gives me enough time to do the research, all that stuff. And so I also, like I said earlier, I want to stream, which I'll probably start mostly with gaming content. I don't know that I know enough and am well read enough to actually provide good political analysis and context in the history of all this stuff, but I'll probably still talk about politics while streaming. Just I won't be like sitting down for like 6 hours reacting to the news and providing analysis or anything like Hassan Piker or something like that. I don't know. And so that's pretty much, I guess, the end of this. It's the end of my list. So this video, like I said, is mainly just meant to be an introduction of me sort of explaining my positions and whatnot, and then providing the schedule and all this stuff, and laying out what I kind of want to do with this channel, right? So it's probably, I'm going to try to start streaming soon as well, in which my channel name is just Cosmic Nightmares as well. say you can find the link to my Twitch from on my main YouTube page as well. And yeah.